Welcome, dear listener, and thanks for joining us.
I'm Yanto.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is a podcast all about the weird and wonderful world of the dark comedy anthology series, Inside Number 9.
On each episode, we'll be diving into another one of Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith's twisted tales, putting it under a lens and examining it to within an inch of its life.
So make yourself comfortable, grab a cup of tea, and join us for The Ninth Degree.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. And hello, listeners, if we've got any.
Hopefully. we're just saying this into the void.
Yeah. So this is a brand new podcast.
Oh, exciting times.
It is exciting. So obviously, you know, if you've downloaded this, you know that it's going to be about Inside Number 9.
Hopefully.
So just to clarify, I am Stephen. And this is Yanto.
And I'm Yanto. Hello. So I wasn't sure if you were pausing or not.
And I was going to say, we actually met through another podcast that I do with my partner, which is all about Doctor Who, called About Time. Yanto was a listener of that podcast, and we got in touch through that. Developed a friendship, talking about nerdy things mostly. And you actually introduced me to Inside Number 9. Yeah,
I can't stop telling people to watch it. I feel like it's not well enough known about for how good it is. Everyone knows Black Mirror and the other anthology type things, and I don't feel like this gets enough credit for how good it is. So I just it's like my personal little mission to recruit people to watch it. Well, and the fact that you're doing a podcast about it means it must have worked.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I love it. I came to it within the last year. I worked my way through all 9 series. And it's amazing, isn't it? A lot of shows, especially ones that run that long, it's unlikely that the quality is going to stay that good. But yeah, I felt like with this, it was very rare that there was an episode that I thought was not good.
Yeah, and even the ones that I put aren't my favourites, it's just because I don't maybe like that style or whatever, but it doesn't mean that other people won't love it. So it's it is rare to find one that's not good. Yeah, even if it's not to your personal taste, you can still appreciate that it's done really well. And there's some that I've rewatched recently, before we did this, thinking, I should reacquaint myself. When you were watching them, I was like, I remembered not really liking this all that much. And then I watched it and it was actually really enjoyed it. So
that's true of so many things, isn't it? When you come to it with a different frame of mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so have you been a fan of Reece and Steve outside of Inside Number 9, for a longer time as well?
Yeah, I think Inside Number 9 was what got me interested in them to start with. I can't remember how I got into it, and then that made me interested in their other things. So League of Gentlemen and Psychoville especially, which I really enjoyed. I didn't think League of Gentlemen would be my kind of thing, and then I gave it a go, and it wasn't what I expected.
Yes,
it was a lot cleverer than I thought it was going to be.
Yes, it is very good, isn't it? So I went on and watched those after I finished Inside Number 9, just because I was sort of getting withdrawal symptoms from the gang. And again, I was not sure if I was going to like League of Gentlemen, but yeah. And obviously, some of it hasn't aged particularly well, but
true.
You have to look past that sometimes.
Make allowances.
But anyway, we're here to talk about Inside Number 9. Fantastic anthology series, the first episode of which is called Sardines. Before we start, I better just say for listeners, should be obvious, but if you've not watched this episode, please don't listen to this podcast until you've watched it, because we will obviously be spoiling things.
They're all on iPlayer. Go watch them.
Absolutely, yes.
I don't know about the rest of the world, but
I don't know why you would be listening to this if you haven't watched it. But
yeah.
But yeah. And also as well, just to bear in mind that the show itself is very dark and twisted and covers a lot of dark themes. Those themes will be coming up in our conversations to an extent, so just to be aware of that from the start. We've been chatting for a little while about starting this podcast, and we've had a few back and forth about ideas of things we could do with the show. Yeah. And we had an idea, so fans of the show will know that in every episode they hide a particular hair. I never quite, is it silver or is it bronze?
Sort of bronzy gold.
Yeah. And that's like a little Easter egg, isn't it? You can find it in every episode. And I'm sure we'll discuss at some point where it is in this episode. But that led me to think, was there something that we could hide in every episode of this podcast? Obviously, trickier in an audio medium, isn't it, to hide something?
Yeah.
But the game we've come up with is, at some point in each of our episodes, we're going to be saying the name of another episode of Inside Number 9 that's completely unrelated, and it will just be slipped into conversation somewhere, and then next week we will tell you where it was, and if you spotted it, then good for you. No prizes, but yeah, might be fun.
They're going to get more and more convoluted and...
Oh yeah, I mean, some of them are easy, some of them are really not.
They're going to be so hard to engineer in, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. But anyway, so shall we get into Sardines?
Let's go. Let's squeeze in.
Yes, exactly. It's a good opener, I think, isn't it?
It is. It does sort of set the stakes. Like, it's got the comedy, it's got the dark elements, it's got the twists, it's got a lot of great characters, which is kind of, sets the scene of all the things that they kind of like to do.
Yes.
Have you played Sardines?
I was going to ask you that. It's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah. I've only ever played it once.
Okay.
And that was not similar situation, but like at a friend of a friend's house who was stupidly rich.
Yeah.
So they have this giant house.
Okay.
I don't know is it just a game for posh people?
That's literally what I was going to say. It sounds like such a posh person activity, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we were hiding like a little outhouse in the garden somewhere, like away in the orchard or something.
Yeah.
Is all I remember.
I mean, you've got to have a space that has hiding places that are big enough for
and
lots of people to get into. Yeah. So I guess you've got to have money for that.
Doesn't really work in a one-bed flat, does it?
No, it doesn't. You're not all going to fit in the drawer under the sink.
Jump in next to the spoons.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, and also the aesthetic of everything was really interesting in this episode, because the way they were dressed and everything, at first glance, you would probably think it was set like decades ago. Like, I was thinking, it kind of looks like
considered that
60s or something almost. And
yeah,
then Lee comes in with his headphones and his phone, and then you hear more references and you think, oh no, it is modern day.
Although you say that, they talked about BBMs. I haven't heard anyone talk about Blackberries in it forever, so it's becoming a period piece.
Yes. 2010s.
Yeah, what date was it?
Was it 2014?
5th of February 2014.
There we go.
Somehow feels older.
Yeah. I think you just forget how long ago 2014 was.
Well, yeah, COVID adds like 5 years onto anything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And also the fact that they're all clearly adults, the contrast of them all being all dressy dress up whilst hiding in a cupboard squeezed up against each other.
Yes.
I just find quite funny.
And actually that goes with the kind of dark themes which come out later on. The fact that actually they're playing a very childish game
yes,
is quite appropriate in a way. I'm assuming when they filmed the first series, they didn't necessarily know which order they were going to be airing them in, and then they decided that later.
Yeah, I wonder how they picked what order they went in. I guess this one works quite well as an opening in that it's on the face of it quite funny.
Yeah.
And it's not until the last sort of couple of minutes
yeah.
where it really twists. Like, there's something going on, but it's not overtly really dark.
Yeah, I think it's always good when an episode does that, when it feels quite light and comedic for a large part of it, but then by the end you realise there was something deeper going on. And then also the rewatchability, because I've only watched any of these episodes once until now doing the podcast, when obviously I'm rewatching for this. So now, when you know what's coming, it sheds a whole new light on things, which is just really fascinating.
They get a lot of little lines in that you don't pay any attention to on a lot of these episodes. A lot of foreshadowing and stuff, which is incredible to do in less than half an hour, really. How you can introduce all these characters that you are interested in and then come up with a mystery and pack it all up again, all within half an hour.
Yeah. As someone who is, I attempt to write myself sometimes, like it's like a masterclass in economy of writing and everything. And I think they are absolute geniuses, the pair of them. And they obviously work so well together.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They're clearly such good friends, these two.
Yeah.
Clearly one of those lifelong friendships that you see in films that you don't think actually is real.
Yes. I picture them, you hear about that they've got this constant running joke where they walk in and the other one pretends to be dead and stuff like that. It's just hilarious.
Yeah. But the thing I love about Inside Number 9, it's just this sort of gimmick type thing. So, like, Steve said something like, can we get 12 people in a wardrobe? Like, was just the premise of how they came up with it. And I just find that so fascinating how when you're sort of written into a corner, what great things can come out of that. And how the restrictions sort of help actually make something greater than if you're just given a blank slate to work with.
Yeah, that is so true. I also felt about this episode that it's very, very theatrical and it feels like a play. Yes. Specifically the kind of Alan Ayckbourn kind of, with that lightness of comedy between the characters, but then darker things being revealed. I don't know if you're familiar with any of Alan Ayckbourn.
I'm not, no.
No, but it's literally, it's very much that kind of thing. There'll be, families and friends who, have some sort of resentment going on between them. And yeah, very much. And even like the way it was delivered with sort of long pauses in between and stuff, which, like you said, you've only got half an hour, so it's quite brave to allow that time, to pause. But it really makes it just feel like, oh, what are we watching? It makes you kind of intrigued.
Yeah, they do build the suspense up really well in this. And just so many questions at any given moment of what's going on. Why are these people like this? Which is funny because I'd not watched it since I first watched it, however many years ago. And I could remember the very end, but I couldn't remember any of the other stuff and how it got to where it got to, which was really interesting getting to watch it again.
See, I'd forgotten the end. I completely forgot the big twist. So when I rewatched it, it came out of nowhere for me. But yeah, I feel like quite a lot of Inside Number 9s actually, because they take place in one setting, or that's the idea. They all kind of lend themselves to the theatre. Like I could imagine quite a lot of them could be expanded into plays.
I don't think I struggle to think of many of them that wouldn't be easily done on the stage.
Exactly. Yeah, so good.
Should we work through characters? Who have we got?
Okay.
Catherine Parkinson.
Yes.
I love that woman. She's brilliant.
I'm the same. I love her.
I mean, she's almost always playing the same person and everything, but I don't care.
Yeah. I was just thinking of the bit when you were saying about BBM earlier, and she's like, oh, he's BBMing me all the time, actually. Yes, yeah, she is fantastic.
And does she actually enjoy this game or not? Because at half the point, she seems to be really happy that they're playing it, and other points, she seems like she doesn't want to be there at all. And I'm trying to work out whether she actually does enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, the thing I get from her character is that, so she's younger than her brother.
Yeah.
And I think, whose idea was it that they play this game?
Well, that was going to be another question of mine. I don't know.
I was wondering if it was Andrew, the dad.
That would be my guess, that he's like instigating it.
Yeah. In which case, is Rebecca just kind of doing it to please her dad, sort of thing?
Possibly, yeah. I've not considered it that way around, yeah.
Because it feels like she's probably done a lot of that in her life.
Yeah. And obviously, Carl's just going along with it.
Yes.
Very reluctantly.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think, because you said how it was for their engagement party. I don't think I actually realised it was an engagement party until just now.
Yeah.
It's weird how much stuff can happen. It's only half an hour, yet you can still somehow miss bits.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I remember her saying because you know how people keep getting her name wrong and calling her Rachel. Yeah. And there's a bit where she says, gosh, it's my own engagement party. Can't people get my name right at my own engagement party? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course she does. Oh, bless her.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a great day, does she really? Well, none of them do.
But who else do you want to talk about?
Should we go in order they turn up? I've got... Okay. So Ian's next.
Yes.
Although does he make sense to leave to the end? Well, Ian is a character. So he's the most awkward. Like, I just have that fear of playing that game and getting stuck with someone that you just don't know how to talk to.
I thought you were going to say you have the fear of playing the game and being that person. Like,
well, that's the ultimate fear.
That's
if you don't
me.
know
That's
you
what
are
that's what I would feel. I feel that would be me.
Yeah, that's me as well.
Thing is, though, he brings a lot of the comedy in that early section.
Yeah. Are we wanting to leave the twist bit to later? Because
well, I think we can talk about it.
Presumably people know. So,
yeah.
Like, that was going to be my main question. How much of this is he playing as being this weird person?
I was wondering that. Yeah, that is
all his bad jokes and stuff. Like, is it intentional? Is he that person? Like,
Because also, what is the real Ian like? Because
Exactly. He's still at the train station. We don't know.
Yeah, but Rebecca, she's listening to him being really boring and annoying, and then she says, "Oh gosh, Ian, yes, he has mentioned you," as if to say that she's been told that he's this really boring person. So is he trying to pretend to be Ian, or is he just being himself?
Yeah, like how much background has he done on this guy?
Yeah, it's very strange.
Like, is his name really R.I.P.?
Yes. Which I thought was a nice bit of foreshadowing, actually, when I watched it again. I was like, oh, clever.
And he's the one, obviously, that's in the wardrobe to start with, so he knows he can get them the place he wants them to be.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, his plan wouldn't have worked very well if they were all under the bed or something. As easily.
I don't know what else Tim Key, who plays him, has been in, but he seems familiar, but he's good. I
don't know. I know him well, but I don't know from what. I think he's one of those actors that appears like as a side character in a lot of things. Apparently he's been in Skins and Plebs and Peep Show.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of other things. But yeah, that's the role I know him from.
But not Doctor Who. If he'd been in Doctor Who, I'd know straight away.
Until we find out he was. No. There's quite a few that have been in this one. If we count Stephen
Rees, yes. Yeah. Anne Reid has been in it.
Anne Reid, yeah.
Who else has been in it?
I'm sure there was someone else. I want to say Julian Ryan Tutt's been in it at some point, but I feel like he has, but I can't remember why. He feels like the kind of person that should have been in it.
Yes, I know what you mean. Is it always me? Is it me, or does he always play a bit of a twat as well?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's his
Massively.
casting.
Yeah. I used to really like him in Green Wing.
I've not seen that, no.
No.
I'm thinking of in Black Books when he plays that explorer / author.
Yeah.
He's an absolute twat.
Yeah.
So you've got Lee.
The new boyfriend.
Yeah. And Rachel, who is Jeremy's ex. So there's a lot of characters to keep track of. It's quite confusing.
There is a lot. I was struggling with names. I've got to write them all down.
Yes.
Why are they there? So Rachel's the ex, but how's she wangled her way in?
Well, because obviously he still talks to her a lot, and they're quote unquote text buddies.
Yeah.
But obviously he still has a thing for her. But then why you'd invite her to your engagement party to another woman is a bit weird.
Yeah, it's brave.
Yeah. But it's very, like I said before, very Alan Ayckbourn, very sort of pressure cooker, put all these people in close proximity. And of course the wardrobe with them all being in there like really ramps up that.
Yeah.
They're right in each other's faces. Awkward.
Very, very awkward. I feel like that was was that intentionally the sort of B plot of those three in their sort of triangle to distract from the actual
yes, I think so.
Resolution?
Because I think you're supposed to focus on the fact that, he's cheating on her and he's still in love with his ex, and that's the main focus. But it's not, really.
Yeah. That's the other thing, that you can, even with only half an hour, you can manage to get a whole other story going on just as a diversion. It's great.
Yes. I think we need to talk about Reese and Steve's characters.
Yeah.
The gay couple. Reese plays such a good gay man.
Yeah.
Which I know we get at least one other time in the series. I remember.
At least, I'm sure there's at least another one after that as well.
And he's the most overtly comedic character in this whole thing.
Those little one-liners.
Great one-liners, yeah. And then Steve playing Carl. I thought it was interesting, like, when he first appears and he opens the wardrobe, he sounded so like Kenneth Williams, like he was doing a gay voice. And then he didn't sound like that at all for the rest of it. It was like, let me just establish that I'm gay and then, and then move on.
Explicitly address it again. Yeah. Well, I was wondering this. It was like, I was thinking to myself, like, how come they're together? Like, they seem very antagonistic towards each other. And like, part of me was wondering whether it was that sort of, Carl's grown up in this family of well-to-do people where probably being gay isn't exactly a good thing, and it's probably a bit frowned upon, and wondered whether it was sort of an element of he's picked Stuart as his partner because he's so clearly gay that then he never has to sort of have that conversation with anyone.
Yes.
And like it just sort of puts it out there before he even has to talk about it, so he doesn't have to say the words.
Yes.
Because Stuart will do it for him.
Yes. But I do wonder, like you say, why they're together, because they really see. Well, again, you've got to remember you're only seeing them in this one particular scenario.
That was my wonder, whether it's normally they're fine, but because he's
Yeah.
back home with Daddy, that he's acting like this. And
Yeah.
more highly strung.
But I liked that bit when Reese said one of his typical sort of, saucy one-liners, and then Steve's character said, "Can you not just talk like a normal human being for 5 minutes?"
Oof.
Yeah. Good though. 'Cause
But they do play such a good couple together.
they do. They really do.
They really do.
So we've also got Anne Reid as the lovely
Anne
Geraldine.
Reid. Oh, I love that woman.
I know,
She's
amazing.
great.
Yeah, she's always good.
She really is. I mean, she doesn't get much to do, but the few lines she gets, she delivers so well.
Yes. I love the way she's just like, she's a little bit batty and a little bit out of it and doesn't really know what's going on.
No, but she's just happy to be there.
Yeah. And so am I understanding it right that basically because she was their nanny, she was asked to be there to help and serve drinks, but she thought she was meant to be a guest, and so they're trying to be polite.
Yeah, I think so. That's how I take it.
Which is a bit sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Bless her. I just mixing up words all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I love that little trope.
Yeah. Is that the one where you can't touch a snake? So, yeah, then we've got Mark and Elizabeth, who, when they came in was when I was starting to feel, I'm struggling to keep track of all these characters now.
Yeah, and then they had another whole level on of he's there for some deal that he wants their dad to help with, and it started to get a bit confusing at that point.
Because really, how do they tie into the whole thing? I don't think they do really.
No, you could. I think they were the ones that you could most easily take out.
Yeah, and the fact that they're then in the group that gets locked in and burnt at the end, not to put too fine a point on it, it's a bit why are they there? Why do they deserve that?
I assume there's an element of it's just they were there, but also maybe there's a side of they were sort of supporting this guy, wanting his help and stuff, and
that's true,
kowtowing to him, maybe.
Yeah,
so they deserve to go as well. I don't know.
Could be that, or the other option is Ian/Philip is overcome with what he wants to do. It doesn't matter about the innocent people that get involved.
Yeah, I think it's probably more that.
Yeah.
But he could, if he wanted, justify it to himself as for whatever reason, all of these people.
Yes. But then we've got Mark Wooten as Stinky John.
Stinky John. Oh, bless him.
Bless John.
Oh, with his weird hair.
Yes.
And his funny suit.
I know. All I can see is Mr. Poppy from Nativity.
I've not seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, you're not missing much, in my opinion. Some people would murder me for saying that because some people love it, but
they do, don't they?
Yeah.
It seems really popular.
It's all right. It was all right to watch once for a laugh. But he's in it as a TA.
Right.
So he's a sweet character though.
Yeah, he is. He's the one I most feel sorry for.
Yes. Especially when they're all, being horrible to him because of what it turns out is actually linked to his trauma.
Yeah.
When you find all that out, it's really, really moving.
Yeah, the poor guy. And it's clearly affected him a lot. Obviously, it's affected all of them. And he almost feels a bit childlike as well.
Definitely.
He doesn't really feel like he's grown up.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think that can happen a lot when you've got childhood trauma. It sort of can stunt people sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, just in case people are listening and they've watched the episode a long time ago, maybe you don't remember, they're constantly alluding to the fact that this character, John, doesn't wash and therefore smells, and that he stopped washing one day. And then we find out, it's implied that the father character, Andrew, was abusing children, including this John, quote unquote, helping them learn how to wash and things like that. So it's all very horrible and uncomfortable. So John being one of the victims of this, which everyone else who knows about it, which it seems is quite a few people in that wardrobe do know about it, they've either ignored it or they've tried to defend it or they've tried to brush it under the carpet.
I was wondering about this. So Rebecca's character, how old do we reckon she was? She doesn't seem to really be as fussed about it, but she's a lot younger. Do we reckon how much she knows?
Well, it seems like she knows.
She knows, but whether she really appreciates the gravity of it.
Maybe not.
Because I'm guessing she was quite a bit younger than them, maybe.
Maybe. It's that moment when Carl says to her, look where we are. And there's a sort of moment of recognition of presumably that's the room where it always happened.
Yeah.
So she is aware, like, of all that. She's
an interesting one. Like, when Geraldine sings her song and Rebecca and Carl, like, go to hold hands or something, what was the significance of the song? Did I miss that? Because I know there's a song that the dad sings, but there's the one that Geraldine sings.
Oh, yes.
About never being married or whatever.
Oh, yeah, always the bridesmaid, something like that. Yeah. I just took that to be maybe a song that she'd always sung to them when they were children, and it just made them sort of revert back a little bit, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Because she was getting married, so it wasn't like she was, she'd just been abandoned or whatever. Or
yeah, I personally didn't read anything into sort of the content of the song. It was just the fact that it was just an old song. I don't know.
So then you've got the notably absent Caroline, the sister.
Yes. Which
I'd not realised until this watch is because she's got young boys.
Right, yes.
So that's why she's not attending.
Yes.
Because I guess she's worried about what might happen with them.
Absolutely, yeah. That's interesting because I hadn't thought of that, but you're absolutely right. That makes perfect sense. But I was just thinking that she had sort of disowned the family.
Yeah, and because she lives far away.
Yeah, because of shame about everything, obviously. But if it's like you say, the fact that she doesn't want her children to become victims, it's almost like she's saying, well, okay, fine that he did it to those other children, but not to my children, sort of thing, almost.
Yeah, because none of them has spoke up about it, so clearly they're all a bit complicit in it.
Yeah. It opens up so many questions and makes you think, doesn't it?
And how they haven't said anything, but at the end of the day they were all kids, so how much blame can you really put on them?
Well, exactly, yeah. Yeah, this is what it's almost like this is kind of a archetypical Inside Number 9 episode, isn't it? Like short, it's only half an hour like they all are, but like you say, it's just so much packed in. We've also got Jeremy, who's not in it very much.
Yeah. I just realised it's Thingy from Ghosts, and I'd not twigged that it was him.
Okay.
He's the captain from Ghosts,
right.
And I'd not realised. And all the horrible history stuff.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so how's he ended up with Rebecca when clearly he's still in love with the other one?
Yeah.
And she's clearly still in love with him.
Yeah, I wonder why they broke up and what's going on there.
This is the other great thing I love about these sort of like short story type things. There's so many answers you just never get.
Exactly,
you just can think and wonder about what it was.
Yeah. I wonder as well, from an acting point of view, like the cast must have thought about all these questions as well. They must have had these questions and possibly answered themselves in their heads. But, we'll never know.
No.
But yeah, it's so cringy and awkward when he calls her the wrong name.
Yeah.
And he says, I love you, Rachel.
Oh, that's so painful.
Like, literally, like, oh my God, how could you ever get back from that?
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. No, that's it. Just like call it quits there.
But literally, the fact that the camera just stays on him and he realizes what he's done, and that the two women are in there. Like, just wonder what's going on in there. Are they looking at each other? Are they deliberately not looking at each other?
They're both looking at absolutely anything other
than
each other.
Yeah. So awkward.
It's you can feel the awkwardness through the screen. Yeah. It's so painful.
And later when he's shoved right up against her and he's like, oh, it's because they both start with an R, and her face is just like, oh, get away from me. Like, oh my God, so good. I just have to point out something. I don't know what you made of this, but the bathroom, which is an ensuite.
Ensuite.
That's what I'm bringing up. Why? It's fair enough that Stuart says ensuite because it's quite a camp way of saying it. But also, Anne Reid's character says it, and I feel like multiple people say it. Yeah. Is that a thing?
I think it's just those two.
Okay.
And she says it first, so I assume that's just her being quirky and weird, and then Stuart's just like, that sounds gay, I'm going for it.
Or he's taking the piss.
Or
maybe she said it. She got it wrong because she always gets things wrong, and he just said it as like a little dig, like, oh, apparently that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But it's just hilarious. I think I might call them that from now on. Next time I go to a hotel, I'll be like, oh, has it got an en-sweetie?
Sweetie. That is one of the things I love about Reese and Steve, that they're little wordplay jokes, and like there's so many of the little character foibles or whatever you'd call them. And you might only get one line of ever doing it, but you can sort of tell so much about the character from them.
Yes. yeah, I'm constantly in awe of their abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of these characters barely get any lines, but they're so interesting, and we want to know more about them in half an hour. Like, it's hard to do that in an hour. Sometimes it's hard to do that in a film.
Yeah.
Let alone 25 minutes or whatever it is.
Linked to that, just it's amazing how quickly the tone shifts.
When the dad turns up.
Well, yeah, like it's so well done. Like, you know, going from the light and slightly awkward sort of comedy, and then bringing up the harrowing themes that come in towards the end. It's quite a quick transition, isn't it? Yeah.
And they do such a good job of wrapping it all up so quickly and making suddenly the penny dropping and it all clicking.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's only within the last minute or two, isn't it, that it suddenly all clicks together. And it recontextualizes everything, makes you think about everything that you've seen from Ian, the character. Again, when I
kind of disappeared a while ago, and you kind of almost forgotten about him.
Yes, and that's the brilliance of that character, isn't it? Because they've all forgotten about him because he's so forgettable and boring.
Yeah.
And also, he's not part of that group. He's not meant to be there.
No.
But again, no one notices that because he's so boring and forgettable.
Yeah.
It's absolute genius, isn't it?
And how he manages to get himself tucked away in the bathroom that no one will notice. Which, in hindsight, actually, is probably quite, like, considering that's where everything happened, it must have been really tough for him to do that, presumably.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Which I'd never really thought about. Like, he's having to put himself in the place where the bad thing happened on his own for quite some time.
Yeah. And
then we get another creepy song.
The Sardines song.
Is that a thing, or is that a made-up thing for this?
I've got no idea. I'd imagine it was made up for this, but I don't know.
I'd imagine so. And then it's a bit of a Mandela effect thing of, I'm sure my memory is actually them setting fire to this wardrobe. Is how I remember it happening.
Do you know, I thought the same, actually. I thought the same.
I vividly remember at least fire. Whether it was just the lighter, like,
it's the lighter, flame. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I thought, in my head, I thought there was a shot of something, but it's kind of more powerful without it, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Although, realistically, they could kick that door in.
Oh, yeah.
Quite easily. I don't think anyone's dying in this situation, but let's say they did.
Yeah, it is dark. It's a great place to start, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, like we say, they set the stall out quite early.
I mean, we've got, child abuse, obviously, adultery, murder, whatever else you want to throw in there. Like,
yeah, why not?
Yeah. And as well, I just want to say on the child abuse thing, which I know is obviously a very difficult topic, the fact that they use it and sort of explore it in a way, but they do it quite sensitively, and they're not they don't make a big thing out of any specifics about it.
No, and they're not playing that element of it for laughs at all.
Oh, definitely not, yeah.
Like, that is very serious, and they treat it as such.
And that's what I love that, but I think that's one of the things I love about the show, and I love that in general in drama and things, where the juxtaposition of the serious and the comedic, it highlights both of them, and it makes the serious more serious, and it makes the funny more funny and more of a relief, you know?
Oh, totally agree, yeah. I think that's why I enjoy horror films quite so much, because it's always such a good contrast of really dark and really funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I find horror films tend to go quite funny a lot of the time. Because, like you say, it undercuts it quite well and lulls you into a false sense of security.
Cool. I'm not much of a horror person.
No,
and the ones I have seen, I can't remember being particularly funny.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe I've just not watched the right ones. But yeah. Did you spot the hair in this one?
I did you?
Not with my eyes, but with my Googling afterwards. So I didn't see it, but did you see it?
Yeah, I was looking out for it. I did spot it.
Go on then, tell us where it was.
So you're about 6 minutes in. It's on the windowsill to the right of the wardrobe. Well, I don't know if it's on the windowsill or it's on a side table, but you just sort of see its ears poking up above the pillows.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What is the story with that? Like, did they just have it for one episode, like, and then they thought, it'll be fun to put this in? I think they just sort of routed through the props cupboard because they wanted something to tie it together. I'm sure they talked about various things that they wanted, like a common character that was in every episode or something. And they ultimately decided on that because they didn't want anything too
that would constrain them too much.
Yes, exactly, yeah. But even in the hair, like, I'm thinking, like...
There are some where it's very cleverly put in.
Okay, yeah.
Or it's not physically there.
Okay.
We'll say that. We'll save it for later when they do.
Yeah, we'll look forward to that, because this watch through, I'm definitely going to be trying to spot it. Yeah.
There's some I do know where they are, but there's plenty that I'm going to have to look for. It gets much trickier as it goes on. Like, they make a point of it. In the first couple of series, it's just there. Whereas later on, it gets much more subtle and very much in one frame.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
There's one that I'm thinking of that's very, very much you have to freeze it to get.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can imagine as fans who were watching it when it was airing, there must have been a huge like Twitter community, like, and that kind of thing, or Reddit or whatever, like discussing. I
expect so, yeah. I wasn't really following it in that way at the time.
Yeah.
But I imagine there probably was, yeah.
Because knowing, like, we're both Doctor Who fans, we know what the Doctor Who fandom is like. Every sort of 5-second trailer that gets released will be combed through frame by frame.
Yeah. With an hour-long
video essay about it, so I'd imagine people probably have treated Inside Number 9 like that to some extent.
Yeah, I would expect so.
Yeah. And why shouldn't they?
Yeah.
So, okay, so what another little gimmick that I thought we could do for this podcast is, well, not that unusual to rate each episode, give it a rating. But what I thought we'd do, since it's Inside Number 9, we'll give it a rating out of 9 instead of out of 10. So, out of 9, what do you rate this episode?
Oh, what do I go for? Because it's do you rate it individually what I just gut feel, or do you bear in mind what other ones are that I know I potentially enjoy more, and therefore this, like, on a scale, shunts it down?
Yes, it's very tricky. I would say just go for a gut feeling.
Yeah, I would have, if I was just going by what I remember, I'd have scored it a lot less. But having rewatched it, I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than I remember enjoying it. Because I tend to tell people, when I say to watch it, I tend to either tell them to go for episode 2 or series 2, episode 1. I don't know why, but I know this isn't an episode I particularly say just start with the first one.
Okay.
Because obviously it doesn't matter what episode you watch them in.
No.
Episode order. But on a secondary watch, I did really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'd probably go a 7.
That's funny. Because, yeah, I was the same with you. I was, in fact, at the start of this recording, I had a score written down. I was thinking between 5 and 6. But actually, through discussing it, it's made me want to bump it up a bit, because actually it's made me appreciate it so much. Like,
yeah,
it is really good. So I actually landed on a 7 as well. So 7 out of 9.
7 out of 9.
Good strong score for the opening episode.
Opening episode, yeah. No, definitely.
There we go.
I don't know what would have made it a 9. I think it was possibly too many characters for me. I know it's the requirement of this story.
Yes, it says.
But yeah,
I agree.
I might have cut Mark and Elizabeth out personally.
Yes. No, actually, I agree. That is the only criticism, really, is that it's a little bit. If you've got the luxury of watching it multiple times, then great. But for the average person watching it once, it's quite a lot of characters to get your head around in a short space of time.
Yeah.
And they do a fantastic job of it, but yeah, it just makes it a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Well, it could be a great, at least.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
I wonder if that will last.
Well, yeah.
Because you love the next one, don't you?
Yes. The next one's one of my favourites.
Yes. So I need to obviously rewatch it to remind myself, but I won't give too much away, but yeah. I'm not too sure at the moment. We'll see. But yeah, so that was our first episode. Hope listeners enjoyed it.
Hope so. See if they come back next week, then we'll find out.
Yes. We'll see if anyone spotted where I slipped an episode title into
I mean, I genuinely didn't.
You didn't? We'll see. We'll tell you all next week. And we'll find out if you were right. If anyone actually cares. But I care.
So.
I think it's fun. I think it's a little cute little joke.
Yeah, no, I am impressed. I started to realise about 10 minutes ago that crap, he's doing that. I've been thinking too much about what I'm going to say next. That I'm not.
The moment when I said it,
enough.
I was thinking, I was just going to watch and see if you react, but you didn't. So yeah. Anyway, so thank you for that. That was fun.
It was.
We will be back for the next episode, which is A Quiet Night In. We'll look forward to seeing you then. But for now, we're closing the door on number 9.
But you never really leave, do you?
Thanks for listening to The Ninth Degree. If you'd like to get in touch, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at Ninth Degree Pod, or email us at ninthdegreepod@gmail.com. You can also leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts.